Hello guys, let's recap what happened the last 2 weeks because I didn't put up a video of prediction last week because it just was continuation, so nothing new to bring to the table. But now we might see something new happening, so let's do a quick recap and try to predict next week. So, uh, what we had is a continuation. If we examine it in the 4-hour chart, it will be much easier to see. Let's make it bigger. So my last prediction was that we should make a reversal because we saw the divergence to the downside and a quick bounce to the upside. It came up with a big, you can see it, gaps. There is a gap here, there is a gap here. Um, this gap was closed, and then it gapped up, came back and pushed forward. So we have a gap to the downside again at the area of 411, 410. But what it did amazingly just move forward to hit the target, and this one is a purple, the 430. So this is the end finance zone. And could we see a continuation? This is what we have to examine. Basically, all the market almost did the same. It's just a power move because of the options. We had a divergence of continuation to the upside and it just follow. And at the moment, if we examine the 4-hour chart, this is 95.47. We can see a divergence of reversal, which means higher highs and this is lower high. So let me check if it crossed already. This isn't crossed. This is the so we don't have a full confirmation yet. We have to see on Monday how it will open, but it seems that it wants to move to the downside. But again, be cautious with it because any move to the downside depends on the momentum. Oh, sorry. It can create again the divergence of continuation to the upside, which means it will bring the buyers and then they will push forward. So you have this trend, which means if we go here, it can do two options: bounce up, or it can break to the 50, bounce up, and then move to the downside. So at the moment, I can see the moving forward to the 430, even 432 if it still has the momentum. We saw that the Qs was much stronger and leading the market to the upside, but then what happened on Friday, the SPY basically did much better than the Qs, which means that the Qs, if it's still gonna lead us, is started to struggle and maybe we will see the move to the downside again. Momentum is still positive, stochastic is still positive. Volume, I don't like this end volume here. You can see the sell-off at the end of the session, which is okay, nothing much. But now let's look at the daily. You know what? Let's go for much bigger time frame. This is the weekly. The end zone for us was the this high because there are some stop losses, some order which left above. This is the 431.70 and this is the 428. So we are still have room to move a little bit to the upside, maybe even touch to the 435. And I think the 435 on the SPY will be much stronger than the Qs, and we immediately will see how the Qs handle this zone. We still have, this is the divergence to the upside, so it's still moving to the upside, which is good, which means that it could be just a movement, something like this, and could be okay, but this is for the long run. So if we go to the weekly to see how it goes, we had a gap here on the weekly which closed it basically ended with a big strong close. And I know many people wait for the divergence to occur. This is high, this is lower high, but there is a higher high on many time frame. So many people are started to take a short position. And I think this is what giving for the short time frame trader an opportunity to try to take them out with stop losses and move the market to the upside. Um, so you have to be careful, because even though it seems that if we examine the weekly trend for the longer term trading, this is the downtrend. This is a continuation of a downtrend, and this is the change. The change didn't come here, the change came here. So we know now the buyers are came, release, and from there the buyers are coming. So now this is the uptrend. This is the beginning of the uptrend phase. But now we have to ask ourselves, how strong is the uptrend compared to this downtrend? Because many people remember the 2020 move. This is a strong uptrend. You can see the angle is, I don't know, you call it above the 45 degree. This is much bigger angle. This is 30 to 35 degrees. So the question is, how strong is the strength to push forward? And if we go to the daily, we can see that there was a gap here. It cleared the gap, so no more gap from the upside. So it could be problematic for it to continue. Probably sellers gonna hit, and already you can see there is a divergence for reversal. So many people are waiting for the reversal, and so probably took position for short here. They probably took position for short here at the end of the session. And you can see this is making lower highs, and this is making higher highs. So many people looking for the short side. So I think you have to prepare, and you have the big gap here. You can see it here on the daily. You have, I think, here the gap. So still you have here the gap, and you have here gaps. So many gaps left behind, and this is not that good, because if 80% of the gap being closed eventually, which means that if, let's assume, the short took position there for the hope for the closing the gap, and they didn't put a stop loss, so now they're just averaging up the price and not exiting. Some people do. This is the reason why you see the gap. It's just the stop losses that push the stock market. You don't have the opportunity to move down, sell and close and bring the buyers back again. It just move to the upside. So a lot of stop losses are in this zone, and I think the 430 will be a zone which will be hard to bounce or to pierce. Maybe I know my end zone is the 432.20. It could be nice to reach this area and then reverse, but at the moment I start to see the weakness coming into the market, so be prepared for it. Let's move to the 1 hour chart and see how it goes there. You can see when it came far from the 200, it just bounced from it, and here again this is much further away from the 200. So you can assume it's going a little bit sideways and then bounce it again. Let me check something. Yeah, reversal should come to the market this week, I think. Even though it's still strong, and you can see here the volume. So the sellers coming in at the last 1 hour of the session on Friday, and see what happened when they came in here. So this is a profit. This is moving the market to the upside, profit taking. Moving the market to the upside, profit taking. And they didn't stop it. They didn't give it a chance. So this is a mentality that they are still want to move further to the upside. So I can see it coming a little bit to the upside, and then they are taking out all their shares of the market and can result in a big move to the downside. At the moment, I don't see the move to the downside. I can see the weakness coming, so be prepared, but it could take about 2 weeks, even 3 weeks. Let's move to the Qs, and then we can see something unique here. Let's go, you know what, from the monthly and see what happened in the monthly. Sorry for the Fibonacci level. You can see this. I thought it will pierce and then move to bring the buyers. What it did, this is the monthly. It pierced. I know this is the start of the month. It didn't end, but it's continue to the 360 area of Fibonacci level. So this is unique. It doesn't mean that it could bounce to the downside, and I will waiting for it. If we go for the weekly, you can see what it did. It opened up, came down the Fibonacci level again, and then pushed to the upside again on the weekly. It is way, you can see it here, overbought. This is 97, 98. But from this perspective, there is no divergence yet. You could say that there is divergence from there. But if we take, and let's assume, if we take this area, just nowhere to see, you can see that the 76 is the 370 area, and the 347, which it hit, is the 61 area, which means it can bounce up, and if it closes next week below the 346, we will have the reversal. So be prepared. I don't like this candle. Let's go for the daily to see how it looks. With the daily, you can see it way too extended. People will wait for it. But be careful, because this is a strong uptrend. This is a very strong uptrend. Don't try to short it. If people will take short, it's okay. I will take it in the extreme level, maybe 360 if it reach there, or after I will see an area of a gap down area. It could be nice. Let's assume this big area, we will see some here an action price with a gap down. Then you probably can take the move to the downside. But at the moment, this is a big uptrend. Again, if we check the trend, this is downtrend, and this is not yet indication, if it moves up, that the downtrend is finishing, and this is the beginning of the uptrend. So if we taking the Fibonacci level from there, you can see the end zone is the 372, 360, and already reached. So I'm assuming a lot of people will try to take the short for the reversal, not for just for the price collapse, just to take in profit from a swing trade in the shorter term, weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks maybe. So a lot of short will come here. There is a gap there, you can see it here on the 360. Maybe the Q is trying to close, and then it will lead the move to the downside. If we look at it on the 1 hour chart, you can see the ends on 360 moving nicely. You can see at the end of the session, this is a big volume, and the candle didn't push lower, which means that the buyers hold the price. The buyers hold the price, so just taking long at the opening could be a nice profit. At the moment, you can see it there clearly. There is a divergence. This is making lower high, this is making higher high, so the reversal should come soon next week. You can see the key zone was the end target was 346 for me. It continued coming back, retest, and then moving to the upper level. The end zone is 361.96. This is the end zone for me. Momentum is very strong to the upside. There is no divergence. This divergence was a very easy to trade divergence. If you saw that at the opening, it's just moving down, making a lower low, and this is making higher lows, a clear continuation to the upside. But at the moment, you can see the divergence of resting, and resting could be a small rest, big rest. I will not take the move to the downside until I see a clear divergence or a clear volume or a clear something that give me indication that the sellers are in the house. At the moment, it could be just a profit taking like this was. This is a profit taking which create a divergence, bring the buyers, tell them that we are still here. You can see the big gap here on the Qs on the forward chart. So again, with the Qs, with the SPY, there is a gap. This is a gap here. There is a gap there. So many gaps left behind. Let's move on to Tesla. Tesla ends on 224. You can see this is a big momentum. This could be a nice V shape. So be very careful with it. Let's look at it on the monthly, and you can see on the monthly how it goes. It basically reaching again to the Fibonacci level from above. Be very careful with it. If we look at it on the weekly again, so this could be a rejection point. We can see a lot how it reacts to this rejection. We are still in a downtrend with Tesla. You don't see it like with the SPY or the Q. We are still on a downtrend. People, you could say that if this is the downtrend, this is up. This could be a change, so we have to see a close above it. So people probably will wait for it to close, and then coming back, and then re-enter for the trend to the upside. This could be, but it means that Tesla is lagging compared to the Qs, compared to the SPY. Tesla is lagging. So, but a nice momentum. 3 weeks of a good momentum. No much volume there. But very interesting. If we look at it on the daily, it crossed the 200, but it's still in a zone that you don't want to short it. It didn't give indication like it give here. You can see it coming back to the 200 and rejected. Coming back to the 200, didn't press it, and then move up and rejected. This is a nice reaction, also with a nice volume, which means the sellers are in the house. And again, you don't see it here, but you see it cross above, resting on it. The sellers came, you don't see the volume, and then it closed above, which means continuation to the upside. So now we have to see, you have here almost a touch, I think here, let's 217.65 to 17.25, which means the sellers will try to protect this zone. Will there be some pressure? Let me check something. They came at the end of the session. You can see it here. You don't see the volume, so this is just a profit taking. You can see this is a nice big candle with the volume. I could presume that they are still wanting to come to the 324. Will it make a reversal and then coming back? You can see it here that it started to create a continuation to the upside, which means that making higher lows, and this is making lower lows. So continuation to the upside. So any move to the downside, and I will be gladly look for a move to the downside to create the divergence to the upside there. So even if it makes something like this, it will create a divergence, and the market won't, I don't think it will want to give them this easy trade. So probably have to look much better. At the moment, Tesla is strong, too strong to me. I don't see the reaction of the reversal yet. It came to the zone of a nice rejection of from the 213 to 17. It can reach to the 227, but I will look for short in this area. This for me the extreme area. So this is, let me check something here. Yeah, this is for me with Tesla. Let's move to Apple. With Apple, it reached our end zone. This is Apple is very straightforward, very easy to. It became very easy to trade. You can trade the level just to make, if you know how to put the Fibonacci level, you can see how it reacts, rejected, closed above, continuation to the upside, now it rejected. Momentum is started to be negative, divergence, so be very careful with it. This gives me indication of reversal is coming. If we look at it on the 1 hour chart, you can see this is a nice flag it did. Imagine that this is a big green candle and this is the flag. So I know many people will wait for it to see how it reacts. If they see a red candle there, they will take the reversal for the 176. At the moment, you don't see participation of volume on this big move. You don't see profit taking a big one on this move. You can see big volume coming down, and this is probably trying to take out, this is the manipulation, trying to take out all the stop losses, and now we're gonna see probably a distribution, and let's see if we can see a move to the downside. Let's look at the daily to see how it looks. Again, you can see how it ends. You know what it is. You know what it is. So this is the volume. You can see the volume. This is the fight. This is the manipulation. And let's see, this is another small fight. This is a divergence of continuation. I think it ends, and it will be ending this week, but we don't have the confirmation yet. If we look at it on the monthly, you can see it's tried to take out the top. Amazing. Weekly, sorry. On the weekly again, yeah, it's gonna touch it, rejected. You can see small volume, small volume. You don't like it. This is an oversold. This is a two-way. People are waiting. People are just waiting. Even if it breaks, I don't think they will participate in the break. They will wait for the reversal, and it's too damn extended. People will wait for this move to happen, and this is too extended. Let's move to NVDA, the king, the queen, and the whole. Wow, this is it. This is the weekly because you can see the gap. If we go to the daily, this is the bigger gap. Come on, this is it. This is a gap to the upside. This is lonely candle waiting there. Gap down and trying to push to the upside distribution. People will wait for this move. Many people are going to be reached by this move, and it will push the market down, because you know that there is no damn reason for this stock to be that high. Come on, I know AI, come on. In 2 years, many company will have AI. So this is a manipulation to the upside. It is good. It's manipulation. Come on. And you can see, and you know what happened when there is a V-shape. This is a small V-shape. Move big volume, moving up, and then bounce back. What do you think will happen here? Big move coming back to this place. So and I don't blame people taking short there. This is too extended. Even if it will move up, and it eventually will move down to those area. Many investment houses are waiting, just waiting for it. Why you should buy it if you know eventually in the longer term, even if it will take 1 month, it will come to this price. So just wait. So this is NVIDIA. Let's look at it on the 1 hour chart. You can see how it looks. Yeah, I know it's strong. It didn't break yet. It didn't break the pattern for the short, so don't be too excited to enter. If we look at it on the 1 hour chart, you can see they are still strong. It came in back here, bounced from it, but now you can see what happened. This is the lonely candle of the daily, and it rejected again. And you can see what happened, and I will wait for it for the short side, definitely. Let's move to MRNA. MRNA, tricky one. You can see the bounce to the upside, rejected. I know it will reach higher, guy, definitely, but not yet. Nothing much to say. This is a manipulation. You can see this is the V-shape manipulation. So, and this is now, I don't know if accumulation or distribution. At the moment, it seems that this is accumulation. Let's hope for it to move to the upside again. Don't have any, it needs to clear it up there. It's in between. This is a blue, this is an orange. I know it still can move to the downside. It could be very hard for it because any move to the upside will create divergence to the downside. So probably it will just reverse, not creating any divergence, move to the downside a little bit, resting, and then try to push to the upside. Let's move to BA. BA would move with the market. You can see again 215 rejected. This is why the reason why I love those lines. I know with BA it's a little bit too sticky, the line, because at the past it was an algo that I wrote in the past, and where it is, you can see there. And this is for a day trade, because if I see on a daily it hits, I will look for entry for a short. If I see it close above, I will look for entry for long. So this is a daily line, so sorry for that, but also give me some nice indication. At the moment, momentum seems to be positive, which is good. There is no divergence. I don't like this candle because if it's open with a gap down, and if the market will decide to move to the downside, just BA will just follow. I'm not trading BA at the moment. I don't like this. You can see distribution or accumulation. You basically don't know. You don't have the break to the upside. You don't have much break to the downside. It still seems to be positive. It's moving with the trend of the market. You can see the volume. This is a nice volume, and you can see it, this is close below, so sellers are in the house, and this is still sideways, so I will wait for something to happen. Nothing much there. Let's move on. Which stock I forgot? Let me check something. Yeah, I forgot Meta. Alright, Meta again to extend it to the upside, which is really nice, still moving to the upside. I would wait for it to come into the 260 and trying to find an opening there. At the moment, it's still strong, it's still moving, so you can still move with the trend to the upside. Don't try to predict the short term. End zone of Fibonacci level is here. If we look at it on the weekly time frame, you can see this is again too extended to the upside. You can see this is the gap it's trying to close. Let's move on to the daily so you can see more clearly the gap it's trying. And you see this is the gap it's trying to close. So probably trying to reach there because this is some position. I know this is the gap, but there are position there. So it's trying to reach to the 187 and then probably reverse. It's too extended above the 200. So it just moved down. Now it just move up. It's okay. If you miss it, don't have a FOMO. You have a lot of stock to make profit from. You have NVDA, you have Apple. So guys, wait for it. Look for indication. This is a nice indication on the daily. Not that good. I would like to see much better. You have the gaps to the downside. So even if you miss, let's say, the big move to the downside, it just gives you indication that it wants to close the gap from below. So wait for it. Nothing much to say about Meta. If we look at it on the 1 hour chart, you can see it's still moving forward, still trend is up. Lots of people enjoy it. There is no divergence again of continuation. So probably I will wait for it to move to the downside. So if we take the Fibonacci level from there, here you have the 50. If I see it coming to the 50 or the 6180, this will be a good zone to try to catch and to see if there is a participation of buyers and then coming back to the upside. At the moment, it doesn't give me anything, just continuation to the upside, but this is it. Let's move to gold and see how it did. Bigger time frame with the gold, we saw them moving to the downside. This is the bounce again, moving to the downside. So this is the manipulation. People doesn't know what to do. Sorry. So this is a big distribution, and now it's trying to fake, and I think it will try to fake the move to the downside and then push to the upside again. At the moment, seems that momentum started to be positive. It could make, you know what? This is 297. This is where it is. This is 1. So there is a gap. There is a divergence to the upside, but there is no indication of moving up. So be very, you see, it didn't cross yet. So be patient, because if it opened with a gap to the downside, just move here, it cleared the divergence. And if it cleared the divergence, it's tried to reach to this zone 175, 176. Let's look at it. This is the 1 hour chart and see what happened. This is a trend down, trend down, trend down, and this is the break of the trend, bringing the buyers. Yes, I will. I think you can take long the gold. You will have to look for an opening and where to enter. And on this video I won't give it, but it seemed positive to go to the upside, but not yet. It's very interesting. You know what? Let's look at the silver and see what it gives us. With the silver, again moving to the downside, bound from the 21. This is a rejection. The trend is up, momentum is nice. There is no any indication for it to move to the upside yet of continuation. So it could come back a little bit, resting and then pushing forward. If we look at it, this is the 1 hour chart, the trend. So I could see it moving a little bit down to the 2150, even lower to the 2030, and bringing the bars. You can see this is a nice divergence for to continuation to the upside. So you could look for an entry for the long side for it. Could be very interesting. And let's look at Oxy. Oxy is playing with me. I want it to come to the 54, and it just just playing with me. But this is a sideways move of 2 weeks, so it's okay. Probably let's see how it reacts. There is a big possibility for it to break it, because you see once, twice, third, fourth, fifth time. So maybe the 6 is a charm and break it again to the upside. Even though the momentum is start to be positive, you can see it there. This is 87, this is 91. There is a divergence to the downside. We don't have the confirmation at all with the candle pattern, but this could be a good sign if we look at it on the 1 hour chart. Let me clear it up, because we wait for this happen to come into the 61, and this is the move to the upside. So now this is a sideways move, a big sideways move. And if we look for it now from there to here, you can see it break. So it means it's positive. So I think there is a possibility for it to come back a little bit. This is a nice flag, and push it above the 60 and break it. You can see the trend down, 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 and I don't know if you can call it a break of the trend. This is not that strong, but I think people will wait for it above the 61 to make sure it break, even let it break, coming back to the 60, 61 and then entering. So probably people will take it slow, bit by bit. You can see this is a nice volume, this is a holding volume, and small volume of manipulation, and this is moving to the upside again. Nice volume, it's holding, so could be continuation to the upside. Very nice. So now let's talk for the IWM. I never talked about it. I didn't test it yet, but you know what? First time I look at it in this chart pattern. So this is the 4-hour chart. Let's go for the bigger time frame. So probably it's loading, I don't know. So this is the monthly, and you can see this is it. It came to the 50 resting. So IWM, the Russell 2000, don't do much. You don't see it like with the SPY or like with the Qs coming back here to the up. So it means it's still weak. There is a divergence to the upside, but it's still weak. And I think people will wait for it to break here. And if they will see another green candle on the monthly, then they will go long, and then it will push the market to the upside. But can it move to the downside? Guys, I think a lot of people were looking at it for the downside, and you can see it here if you watched closely there. And what happened? It pierced down, entering a lot of short sellers, and then it pushed to the upside, probably from the banks, but then it's trending on the monthly below the trend here, so it could move to the upside and then fail. So be very careful with it, because the Russell don't move with the SPY or with the Qs. Be very careful about the SPYs and the Qs. Don't make big decision yet. So let's move for the weekly and to see, and you can see the big move. If I will look just to put, remember this, and you can see the difference. This is a break. This is starting to making a trend, and sorry I'm hanging about it, but you can see this is a downtrend, downtrend. This is the downtrend. This is a position, but the Russell didn't come here to the 200 and break it. It's still far lagging. You can see here nice volume of accumulation. It's trying to break on the weekly, but not many people are still participating like that. They were here. They took position there, or like they were here. They took position there and moving to the upside. So be very careful with it. Where it is? Let's look at it on the daily. So this is a nice on the daily. This is a nice candle on the daily. This is I want to break to the upside. Let's see what happened. It breaks and it moves down. It broke and it moved down. So wait for it. The trend didn't change yet with the Russell, so it means that still the market is weak. There are lots of stocks that below the 200, below the 50, and probably a much better opportunity to trade than the big stock or the Qs stock with the big 10 to 15 stocks. So I think that the money needs to come out from the big stocks and come back to the smaller stocks, even to the bank stocks, and then try to decide where to move. Because the market in the longer term cannot move only with the power of a 10 stock, because what happens if just one stock, 10% of the stocks are getting weakened, all the market will collapse. So you need the money to be diversified of all other all over the place with more stocks, and at the moment the Russell doesn't give us this indication, and that this is not that good. So I know it was a little bit on the IWM, but let's sum it up with the SPY. At the moment, nice break, not that much volume, divergence of reversal, so I will wait for it. The same goes with the Qs, not much volume, it hit our targets. Next target 360, I will wait for it. It's still over bought there, but you can see if it's still overbought, it can take few steps to the upside and then collapse to the downside, so be prepared for it. So again, I will wait for it for the reversal. So thank you guys, hope you like it, and see you guys later.